We are live. What's up, Facebook? We're recording this, so we'll probably post the replay at some point on YouTube. So if you're checking it out later on the replay or on YouTube, welcome to the party. So we're going to be getting into it today. I'm going to be sharing a case study. So initially, when we were going to do this case study, the case study was going to be a case study of how I made $100,000 in 1 week. However, since then, we've made another $140,000. That's right. We've made another 140. And so we're going to be breaking down the entire 2 weeks now. From the first trade where we did the day trade and made 20,000, the second trade where we made 105, and then the third trade where we made 140 in 1 week. So if you're excited to hear that, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up. I want to see it rain. Emojis, let me know that you're excited for it. Do we need the DJ horn again? There it is. There it is. Awesome. So let's get into it. Let's get straight into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me share my screen and we'll dive right in. All right. So you are looking at my trading account right here. So let's just walk through a few of the basics. You can see the date from June 5th to June 19th. So that's exactly 14 days. So that is how we got the 2 weeks. All right. So exactly 2 weeks. And what I want to, there's a couple things I want to highlight before we go into the individual breakdown. The first thing I want to highlight is that, yes, I lose money. I lost money here. You can see 43,000. Obviously I lost, well, let's scroll all the way down because there's more losses. So let's walk through those. So you can see lost 43,000 there. You can see I lost 35,000 there. You can see I've also lost $8,000 there, 1,200 there. And this is all in the same span of that 2 weeks. Okay. I'm not even going to talk about you know, you obviously see I made money, but this is all in the same span of the same 2 weeks. I don't want to scroll too far up because I don't want to show my trading account number. But you can see all of that's in 2 weeks. So I've lost money. And the reason I want to show that first before we get into the case study, because I think sometimes this industry could be a little jaded. Sometimes we only do the case study on the net profit because it's like, well, that's all that matters. But you can see to get to that net profit, though, I took some losses. And, you know, this is the Money Markets and Mindset Facebook group. And so I'm want to share the mindset is that you're not always going to be right on every single trade. But when you're right, you want to be right big. And when you're wrong, you want to be wrong small. That's the name of the game. People all the time say, how can I get into the game and like not lose any money? And it's like, well, the only way to not lose any money is to not do this at all. But you have to change your mindset to accept that I may lose 1,000 or 500, depending on your trading account, but I'll end up making 6,000 or 7,000 or whatever the case may be. So that's the first thing I really want to point out is that I lose money. Yes. All right. Don't let anyone tell you that they don't, but it's more about where you are at the end of the day, week, month, the end of the year, the end of 10 years, not necessarily if you had one bad trade. All right. So let's get back into the screen share, and then I'm going to walk you through each one. So that was the high level overview. And then now I'm going to walk you through like each trade separately. So let's go there now. All right. So that was the entire account. So let me bring this up. So the first trade we did, matter of fact, let me do picture in picture. All right. So that I'm in here with you. So you guys can see the first trade, one of the first trades that we did was on June 5th, which was the day trade with Netflix. You can see here. Couple things to point out. So in one day, we did $20,000. All right. Now, I want to walk through how much money it took to do that, because that's another question we get, how much money it took. But I also want to walk through the percentages as well, so that you can understand that it's not necessarily about having the same amount of money that I have. It's more about what would be the percentage with the money that you have. Okay, so for me, it costs 38 plus 47, 38,747. Let's bring in the calculator, because I just really want to make it as accurate as possible. So 38,783.19. We'll even add the 0.19 in, plus 4,752.58. All right, so it cost me $43,000. Let me just write that down. The cost total was $43,535.77. So it cost me $43,535 in order to make this $20,000 that you see here. Okay, so it's almost a 50% return, but let's just do the math. 20,437.03. If we divide that by 43,535.77, okay, times it by 100 to get your percentage. You learned that in math class, right? So that was a 46.9. So we could probably round that to 47% return. So what I want you to take from this is, no matter how much money you had, okay, so no matter how much money I have or you have, the percentage was the same. So if you said, well, I only had $2,000, well, 46% of $2,000 would be what? Let's do it here. 2,000 times 0.46 would have been $920. So it's not about how much money you have. It's more about having the knowledge and also knowing the percent return that you would have gotten knowing how to do this. Okay. Now, the other thing to consider, because I'm very big on options trading. So the other thing to consider is that this is 50 contracts I bought. You can see 45 here plus another 5. So 50 contracts controls about 5,000 shares. So keep in mind, if I were to do the same strategy with the actual stock, right? Let's say I was controlling it at 405 with the actual stock. To buy 5, what was it? 50 contracts times 100 shares is 5,000. To buy 5,000 shares at 405, I would have needed $2 million, at least $2 million to make this happen. Does everybody see that? $2,025,000. And so that's the power of options. Instead of me having to put up $2 million, I only had to put up $43,000. Now, could I have lost all of my money? Yes. Somebody's going to see this and be like, you don't talk about the downside of options. It's like, man, get off my channel. No, but if you understand the downside risk is if it doesn't work out, you possibly could lose all your money. Yes, that's risk we are willing to take, but we only are willing to take that at certain times. That's the key, knowing when to take that risk and when the probability of it working out in your favor is going to play out. So that's the numbers on that one. Let's go to the next one. All right, let's go to the next one. So this was, let's just focus on this one right here. We're going to just focus on this one right here, right? Because we made 103,000 the next week from June 8th to June 11th. So in about 3 days, including the fact that we lost 43 and all this. So we really ended up with 54,000. But let's just focus on this. How much does it cost to make $103,000 in 1 week? What type of risk would you have to put up? So they already did the math for me on this one, because I didn't do multiple purchases on this one. So it cost $75,000 to do this trade. And then I was able to pull back $103,000. Okay. So that's over 100% return on this one. And you can see we lost money here. We made some more money down here, but we came out net. This is the key word. We came out net profitable, right? So I don't always know specifically. I don't always know specifically which trade is going to work out. I just take multiple calculated risk. And then I know typically on average, one or two of those are going to work out big, and maybe one or two of those are not going to work out. And the key is to make sure we cut our losses small when the ones that don't work out. But we don't have to do the math on this one. That's over 100% return. So you can take whatever amount of money you have and say, if I got into that one with $2,000, I would have made, $2,000, right? You'd have left with 4,000. If I'd have did that same trade with 10,000, you would have left with 20,000. Now, if you were in the other ones where we lost some money, you got to cut that in half, right? Because we gave almost 50% of it back with some of the other losing trades that you see here, right? So we gave 46 back here. All right, so this camera isn't as crispy, but at least it's not frozen right now. So we'll just work off this camera since at least it's not frozen. So let me go back to technical difficulties. There we go. All right, so we're working off this camera now, and at least we're not frozen. So, all right, cool. So that was this one. Let's go to the next one. All right. So here was the big one. Here was the big one that happened this week for me, which was, that was 2 days ago. Just closed that out 2 days ago. But you can see I entered it on the 15th, closed it out in 2-3 days. So this was the most recent big one, which really made the account jump. So we made $140,000 in 3 days, which is just incredible, right? On top of the other money that we made. And so with this one, it cost me $130,000 and I made $139,000, right? So you can clearly see that is a 100% return, right? A little bit over 100% return, but I took big risks, right? $130,000. It was a weekly option. It was a short-term trade. But it worked out. We pulled out $139,000. I actually sold 50 contracts to bring in protection. Then I bought the protection back because I saw it moving. So I took a short-term $1,500 loss on the protection because I was like, I don't need to protect this. It's moving right now. And so I just let the trade ride. So that one brought in a whopping $137,000 profit in 1 week. And it cost me $130,000 to do that trade. So let me just go back to the original slide or the original chart and show you that is how we came up with this number, right? In about 2 weeks, just 2 weeks time. So pretty sweet. So questions or comments about that type of income? Because what's powerful about it is, you know, from a mindset standpoint, people ask questions like, how long does it take to learn something like that? And the question I would ask you is like, how long would you be willing to learn this? Like most people go to school for 4 or 5 years, 10 years. I don't know. They stay on their job for 40 years. And again, I never talk bad about a job or anything. But what I'm saying is we're willing to commit, 10, 20, 30 years to learning how to survive and thrive in those industries. But like most people aren't even willing to commit 5 years to learn how to do this. And it's like, what if it took you 5 years? And in 5 years, you could do some type of a trade where you can make $212,000 in 2 weeks. What if it took you 10 years? Like, would it not be worth it? And like, wouldn't 10 years come anyway? And so that's what I'm here to do. Really challenge the mindset, which is why we call this group the Money, Markets, and Mindset podcast in the group, because what system are you buying into? And then like, how much time are you willing to put into this to learn this type of industry? The other thing is, you know, without the information, doesn't matter how much money you have. There's people that have over $100,000 to put into a trade or an investment. But if you don't know when to do it, why to do it, the strategy to get in, the strategy to get out, it's like, doesn't matter how much money you have either if you don't have the knowledge of how this works. So you really need to focus on getting the knowledge, right? And then practicing and putting in the work however long that it takes to learn this industry and to make it happen. Because if I pull up in the Lamborghini, more people would be like interested in the car, but they wouldn't be interested in like how I got the car. You know what I'm saying? Like they'd be more interested in driving the car. But if I said, well, you'd have to study some stock charts, take a couple courses, people would be like, oh, well, how much is the course? How long does it take? Right? And like, I just laugh at those comments. Like, how much is it? How long does it take? It's like, I don't know. How much is having the knowledge to pull out almost $250,000 in 2 weeks worth to you? How much is it worth? Does that make sense? So let me know if that makes sense. What questions, comments you got? Hit the emoji button. Make it. Let me know you feeling me on that. Dennis Sims says, let me see. What's your question, Dennis? How do you calculate the amount of contracts you are going to buy? The amount of contracts that I determine I'm going to buy is based on how much money I'm willing to put at risk for the particular trade. If I need to repair the trade, do I have enough money to repair it? Do I have enough money to trade another day or invest another day if this completely goes against me? So there's all these factors that go into how much I'm going to put into the trade. Notice I didn't say I buy how many options based on how much money I'm going to make. You should never buy based on how much money you're going to make, because you don't know if you're going to make any money at all. So everything needs to be based on, you know, do I like the chart? What's the worst case scenario? If this goes against me, will I have some money to invest for another day? Do I have some money to repair the trade? Because I just showed you we did 2 trades where one we lost 43,000, another one we made 105,000. Can you imagine if I put all my money into the trade that lost 43,000? What if I put my entire account into that one trade and that was the one that didn't work out? That would have sucked. But I knew I was going to make money. You never know 100% for sure. So you want to make sure you live to trade another day. So I hope that answers your questions. Charles says he didn't have his notifications set. Well, make sure you turn on notifications. Jeremy, do you offer a course on options? I offer a whole program on options, my friend. So, although this live broadcast is not about that, but I will, let me see, can I go back without a problem? So let me see, boom, 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 boom. Even Google know what I meant to say. But yeah, you could check all that stuff out at powertradesuniversity.com, right? You can check that stuff out. So what else? Any other thoughts, questions? How you guys feel about, we asked a question in the group. We were like, how do you feel about, short-term trading, day trading, making this type of money? When you hear that, do you believe it's possible? Different things like that. And it's interesting to see the different types of responses that we got. But I know when I used to hear people made that type of money, I would be like, yeah, right. Did they really? is this real? But it's amazing to be on the other side and be one of those people that's like, oh yeah, it's real. It's happening for everyday people. Phil said, what's my risk reward rule for options? So it's more about my bank account, but one rule of thumb that we like to say is I like a 1-to-3 ratio. So I like to risk $1 to potentially make $3. That's typically my risk reward ratio. So I like to risk $1 to potentially make $3. So that's just a rule of thumb for how I typically pick the different stocks. All right. Let's see here. Ian, I see that you have multiple contracts in the overview for Netflix. Do you also invest in different in the money, out of money? Yeah, so I was in the money. Then I sold some out of the monies just to reduce my risk. But then I ended up buying them back because the stock was moving and I didn't feel like I needed to reduce my risk. So yeah, there's multiple contracts. There's also times where I might have had 50, then I added another 20 or 25. So it's like I added to the position because it was working. So knowing when to do that, knowing when to deploy the insurance strategy or the risk reducer strategy, that's all key to having the confidence to be able to put that type of money to work. Myron said, where's the Boeing trade and how's it going? If you know anything about my Boeing trade, I own either the stock or long-term options. So I plan on holding my Boeing till 2022. So it's going great. It's higher than when we bought it, and airplanes will be a thing of the future. So we're just holding on to it. Let's see here. C Hunter says, I'm up 48% for the year so far. Thanks for Power Trades University. Congratulations, man. 48%. That's beast mode. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Let's bring Lashana's question in, which is, there we go. I think I made you super big on the screen. Oh no, it's because you wrote a big paragraph. But you said, I want stocks and trading to be an extra source of income. I'm not expecting $100,000s coming in as soon as I start, nor do I have 100 to invest. I got a little money. I want to use that money, not my savings, to start roughly like 3,000. I just started with Robinhood and Stash. So I'm learning, losing, winning, learning, when to take my wins, no matter what. What would my next step be? So my advice to you would, not advice, my feedback to you would be, most people, I think one of the mistakes that a lot of people make is, let's say they only have $3,000. Well, most people don't want to take a course or get the information because they say, well, if I pay for a course or coaching or something like that, then I won't have any money to invest. To that, I would say, okay, try to get as many free resources as you can. But what typically ends up happening is people finally come to the game with their $3,000 and then they lose it anyway. And then after they lose it, they say, I need to take a course, or I need to get some coaching, or I need to be in a community. And so I would say get some education, get some education is your next step. If you knew how to trade or invest, you'd be doing it. So for the most part, trying to figure it out on your own, it's like trying to learn Chinese on your own. It's like, how am I supposed to understand and interpret the language when I don't even know what I'm looking at? It's like sticks and letters and looks like scribble. And then you're like, well, I'm going to go get a book on how to read Chinese. So it's like, so now you're going to read about how to read something you don't know how to read. I'm not knocking books. I'm just saying most people should invest in courses, coaching, mentoring, which is why I don't personally have a book. I mean, maybe one day I will write a book, but it's why I don't that's not my focus. Like, why don't you write a book? I don't feel people are taught best this industry from reading about it or from going out and testing the waters and not knowing what you're doing. That doesn't mean you shouldn't paper trade. You shouldn't practice to the best of your ability, but I would make sure you download the stock market starter pack. Make sure you download the stock option starter pack. Those are 2 free resources that we have. That would also be, let me see if I can show you that. That would also be a good place to start. So if you go to brownreport.com, I don't know what's up with the computer today and all the technical difficulties. There we go. I would check out, the stock market starter pack and the option starter pack. Those are 2 things you can do for free. So LaShayna, that would be my next steps for you. Dennis says, when you add to your position, do you go with the same strike price or do you change it? It really depends. Depends on what's going on with the market. Depends on if I feel like I can get a different strike for cheaper. There is no one answer. There's no, yes, I always go with the same. No, I don't. So it just really depends. Ewan said, Ewan, I hope I'm saying that right. Ewan, unless the W is silent and it's Ian. Looking at the bigger picture, do you continue compounding your profits and options, or do you have a certain percentage for yourself? And do you invest other in parts in stocks and bonds, ETF? So for example, after we pulled out $20,000, I sent about $80,000 out. There's some things we might want to do. We're looking at getting some new windows. So I sent about $80,000 out. The other 100,000, I actually bought another stock. I bought 1,000 shares of another stock. So I went from, a risky strategy to a strategy where the option can expire. So I bought 1,000 shares of a stock that I like. And then I just have the other 50,000 sitting in, I actually did another option trade that doesn't expire for another, 4 months. So we got some time on that. So I sent some out. I bought some stock, 1,000 shares of a company that I like with a portion of it. And then I got a portion in another trade. So it just depends. Sometimes I do nothing. I just let the money sit there and look at it. But that is what I did with it. Let's see what else we got before we wrap up. Dennis, initial investment. I think he's just sharing how he did the initial investment on the course and increased his profits over 442%. Cool, man. That's what's up. If you have any other questions, put them in now. Oliver, let's add Oliver to the live stream. It says, do you have specific courses for this type of short-term day trading, swing trading with options? I took the beginner course a few years ago, still use the basic rules. They served me well. So everything we teach in the courses, you can modify the time frame. So you can apply this to long-term investing. You can apply it to short-term swing trading. You can apply it to day trading. But I am working on a new course. I don't know when it'll be out, but there is a new course coming out for like shorter term weekly options trades, like the ones that you see here. So cool. I didn't want this to be too long, but here's what I want you to know as we wrap up. You gotta have the information. Without the information, doesn't matter how much money you have. You're not prepared to take advantage of the opportunity. That's number one. Number two, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Wouldn't it be worthwhile to learn the skills that will allow you to generate that type of income for you and your family? That still doesn't mean investing is for you. Some people get sick to their stomach seeing that type of money movement or losing 50,000. Some people actually can't take that. And like, this isn't for everybody. I will never necessarily, making money is for everybody, but sometimes this style or this, type of big risk and big returns, it's not for everybody. But that's why you have to put yourself in a position where you can take calculated risk by paying off your debt, making sure you don't owe anybody, making sure you got your emergency fund, all that stuff set. And then you can start to take calculated risk, and then you won't stress as much if things are swinging up big in your favor or things are swinging down in your favor. So that's it. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys in the Facebook group. I'll jump into the chats if you have a question or if you're watching the replay and didn't see this. And as always, if you know someone else who needs to see this, let them know about the group. Send them to thebrownreport.com/group. Tell them join. And, we'll keep you updated on some case studies. If I have a week where I lose some money, we'll do that case study too. But you already saw I lost some in between having a profitable week. So it's a good life. It's a good life, ladies and gentlemen. Wouldn't trade it for the world. No pun intended. All right. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up. And I'll see you guys on the next case study. Hey there, Jason Brown here, and thanks for watching my videos. I want to let you know about my premium group coaching program where my courses, coaching, and community is housed, which is inside of Power Trades University. Many times I get comments like, Jason Brown, I love your teaching. How can I get more of it? How can I work with you? So inside of Power Trades University, I've written courses like Foundations, which teaches you how to read stock charts, how to determine the best time to buy and the best time to sell. I'm also going to walk you through how to do fundamental research and the 3 most important profitable patterns and a whole lot more. Inside of Options Explained, which is my stock options course, I'm breaking out how to use calls and put options to supercharge your account in good markets and to protect your accounts in bad markets and potentially even make money from falling stocks. I'm also going to walk you through in my advanced options course how to use advanced strategies like strangles, iron condors, butterflies, all the advanced combinations to put together direction neutral strategies where it's possible to make money regardless if the stock goes up or down. You're also going to get access to me live 2 hours a week where I actually take what's taught in the courses and I apply it to the real market as I look for real trades with my real account and look to put real money to work looking for stocks and options to trade. You're also going to get access to our trading community of hundreds of other traders just like you, anywhere from beginners to advanced traders inside the community that are putting the information to work, sharing their charts, sharing their trades, getting feedback, learning, and growing their account every single day. So to get more information, just visit powertradesuniversity.com. And if I'm the coach for you and we have the courses for you, then we'd love to see you on the other side. Thanks for watching.